Welcome back. Time is 9:15. Revitalizing communities and helping rebuild lives in need.
2025 marks Rebuilding Together of Greater Charlotte's 15th anniversary, 15 years of repairing homes, revitalizing our communities, and rebuilding lives all across our region.
That's right. We're joined now by Executive Director of Rebuilding Together of Greater Charlotte, Beth Morrison. And Beth, we're talking about the Rebuild breakfast that's coming up very soon here, and the guys asked you how much bacon there was. That's important, but really, what does this breakfast represent for you guys?
Yeah, it's amazing that it's 15 years. We've had a lot of different phases in our organization, so it's a great opportunity to celebrate and look back on all the work that we've done. We also are bringing in a keynote speaker, Leah Rothstein, who co-authored Just Action, which is the follow-up to the book, The Color of Law, that really talks about the history of how our neighborhoods and our housing policies kind of made our community the way that it is and what we can do now to make things better for our neighbors. And then we'll have a panel of various neighborhood leaders that we've worked with over the years to talk about the impact of our work in their communities and what's going on.
Yeah, let's talk about that. And we'll talk about the breakfast here in a little bit and let you know how you can get tickets for that. But we're spending a lot of time right now up in Western North Carolina with the anniversary of the hurricane. And we talk about those communities and how they've been brought together because of Mother Nature and forces outside, what they could handle there. But when it comes to our own communities, like when you go back to the 15 years of what you guys are doing in our own communities, how important are the neighborhood streets that we're a part of right now, and how can we do a better job of that?
Yeah, I think it's interesting to think about natural disaster, and unfortunately we weren't hit like that, like Western North Carolina was. But we have neighbors that are going through disasters every day. It's just behind closed doors, and it's disasters in their lives where they don't have the resources to be able to take care of the home maintenance that they need, and it compounds. So we see a lot of neighborhoods that are being redeveloped and having increased investment, but we don't want longtime neighbors to have to leave the neighborhood because they can't afford to stay there. And providing these critical repairs is a big piece of that.
Beth, for people, I think everybody's experienced it where, okay, the sink goes out or the shower, you need to do some renovations, and sometimes it just feels so devastating because you're like, how am I going to pay for this?
Yeah.
And then things start to pile up there. For people who are looking for the why and you're asking for donations, how powerful is it for these people when you're coming in there and renovating something and taking off a burden, which I'm sure feels like the weight of the world off their shoulders?
Yeah, and sometimes, just like you're saying, it's a repair that would cost a few $100s, but they don't have that, and then it gets worse and worse. So we go in and there's where a sink was leaking, now it's structural. Now the joists need to be repaired. We have to take all the cabinets and the kitchen floor out. So it becomes huge, and that's just you have people who call in and say, I'm falling through the floor in my home. So it is critical for their own individual and family safety and health. But then as we think about our community's affordable housing crisis, it's also critical that we maintain those existing homes. So it's much cheaper as a community to invest in repairing those homes and making those critical repairs than it is to build a brand new home. So it's a critical part of our toolbox in our community's fight to preserve affordable housing.
And we mentioned these little things that tend to pile up, and you mentioned people calling you saying that they are falling through the floor, but oftentimes these are problems that people don't really want to talk about. There might be embarrassment there, or they just don't really know how to get any help. How can people connect with you, and how can everyone help you help others?
Yeah, we have a very skilled staff who goes in and really our goal is to partner with the homeowner and fix the repairs that they have. And preserve their dignity. Everybody can find themselves in this situation, and these are resources available in the community. So we have a really robust nonprofit community here. So we get a lot of referrals from other partners who, they might be helping somebody with food scarcity, but they also see that they need critical repairs. So we have a lot of referrals that go on between community partners. And then, churches and other groups can refer people to us, but people can also just, Google and find that we're an organization that provides no-cost home repairs, and we take them through the screening process. It is, we're helping people without the means to help. So last year, the average income for families we served was about $30,000. So really people who cannot afford, a $10,000 roof.
Right.
And that does not go, it doesn't take long to go through that in a year. We were just showing some of those partnerships there. Again, this breakfast that you guys are doing is called Rise to Rebuild. 15 years. Congratulations to that.
Thank
I mean,
you.
you guys have really been putting your heart and soul into our community. The breakfast, again, is April the 9th. It's a Wednesday morning. There are tickets still available. And the best way is to, what, go to your website? There's a
Yes.
look at it right there.
Yep,
to
our
get tickets?
website, Rebuilding Together CLT, and we have a pop-up, so the pop-up will talk about the breakfast, but then you can also learn much more about our organization and, you know, how to sign up to volunteer. If your company wants to sponsor a project, that's a big way that we keep our work going and bridge some of our funding gaps.
April is National Rebuilding Month, so
Yes.
it's a perfect time.
There you go.
Excellent.
All right, and look, you're gonna eat breakfast anyway. You might as well go ahead and eat
Exactly.
breakfast with a bunch
Yeah.
of people. They got plenty of bacon, but look, the money is going to be going to a really good cause to help our neighborhoods out. Beth, thank you so much again.
Thank you.
You can find all the information on their website. That breakfast is coming up next week, so hurry up and get your tickets. We're going to squeeze in a quick break. We'll be back with more Queen City News now, right after this.